Dylan Rowdy, owner of the Backline, and comedian and improviser. Number one question: how do you do it all? Like, how?
It's this. My parents got me a gift when I was born called ADHD.
It's an expensive gift.
It was, but it just keeps giving.
Yeah.
So I guess I probably just get distracted, or maybe I want to do too many things. I don't know.
But you do them all very well. That's like, I notice, like, everything that you venture into is, you're extremely good at it.
Thanks.
Like, I don't understand. I feel like, I mean, I'm projecting, but, like, if I try to do multiple things at once, something's going to suffer. Like, not all things
well,
can be good.
You didn't see me play sports in high school.
What was your go-to sport?
I think the thing I was best at was football.
Really?
Yeah.
I know nothing about football. What was your strong skill set in football?
I'd say I could probably tackle people was probably like the only thing I was good at.
Really? So if some crazy heckler came into Backline, you would take them down?
I got it. I can get down there. I can get down and push up. Knock them off their feet.
That's
yeah. I played it for 2 years, but I didn't know football very well. I just joined because I wanted to do it. And
that's a good reason to join. That's why I joined most things. I'm like, that looks cool.
Yeah. I was worse at basketball, as you can imagine. I'm 5'6", so.
You played basketball too. What was your position in basketball?
I don't even remember. I played it for 1 year in my sophomore year, and I was terrible. They put me in one game.
Yeah.
And I was so bad that I seriously stood in the middle of the court and looked to my left, to my right about 3 or 4 times to find out which way I'm supposed to go.
Oh my. That reminds me of when I played basketball and I thought I stole the ball and went down the wrong side of the court and got a layup. I was like, dude, I'm so good at basketball. It felt like, like in those like Disney Channel movies when the character is having like the triumphant moment. I was like, this is my moment.
That's great. And then your team's just like...
No, everyone's screaming. I thought everyone was cheering me on. Like, yeah. Everyone's like, no. Like, stop.
Before I had that one game where I went in, I actually had friends who would carry signs in the crowd that said, "Put Dylan in."
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because like the first 4 games, I just was not in. And they'd start coming and
Those are
Dylan
good
in.
friends.
Yeah.
Those are really good.
Until I went in and I totally messed it all up.
And they were like crumpling up the signs. They were like, oh, we should have left these.
The only shot I ever took was a foul. I got fouled, but I didn't have the basketball. I got fouled without holding the basketball. That
was just a personal beef someone had.
Yeah.
Someone was just squashing it on the court. That's funny.
Yeah, and then I missed my free throw, and that was like the only thing I was good at with free throw shots.
There's too much pressure on a free throw.
Yeah.
I hate everyone's looking at you. It's silent. It's like the pressure I feel like on like pills. Like you only have to take pills if you need to take pills, and then when you do, it's like, I don't know. There's so much anxiety. It's like, I can't do it. That's just me.
That's fair. I was like, you get anxiety to take a pill?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I can't swallow pills. And I can't make free throws. It's like when there's all that pressure, I'm like, I'm going to mess this up.
Yeah. I do always worry, like, what if I start to take a pill and then, like, I run out of water or I accidentally drop my water and then it's, like, halfway down my throat and then I'm like,
Yeah, I've literally choked on pills before and that's where my trauma comes from. I can't do it. I'm eating pills with applesauce right now. Like a baby.
Okay. Yeah.
Like...
I use applesauce when I take fish oil, so I don't have as much.
That's a big pill.
Yeah, I guess I don't eat it with. I follow it up with applesauce, so that way my breath doesn't taste like fish.
It leaves a scent.
Yeah, like the fish oil.
Oh.
Yeah, well, they're just like little gel cap things or whatever. So then once they go in your stomach and they pop, you like burp out fish.
That's interesting, and mostly because I used to just chew my pills.
You would not want to chew a fish oil.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was like, I'm just thinking about what it would be like to chew. I was like, is he chewing the fish oil?
No, I'm not chewing fish oil.
That's good. I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah. I do sometimes take little fiber pills because I'm getting old, right? I take some fiber pills and I'll like put one in my pocket for later. Like, oh, if I need this. And then they break really easy. So I pull it out and it's just like a crumple of like this reddish orange like dust in my pocket.
My winter coat is always just full of loose ibuprofen. Like, I don't remember what I was going to use that for, but I know I needed it on a cold day. Like,
I almost always have an ibuprofen with me. I don't right now, but I almost always do.
See, those were the ones I always had to chew. And
you chew ibuprofen?
I was chewing ibuprofen for a really long time before I found out about applesauce. Applesauce has changed the game for me as far as pills go.
Because you wouldn't swallow it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
you would taste ibuprofen rather than swallow a little tiny pill.
I'm chugging a liter of Coke Zero while this is happening. Like I'm chasing it with something, but like it was bad just because I've never been able to swallow. I envied people that could swallow pills.
Can you see the people who swallow pills without anything to drink?
Those people are maniacs to me. Literal, like
they're like, I'll get enough saliva.
Yeah, that's my sister. She does that, and I'm like, how? It's like a big one too. I'm like, that would get stuck in my throat. I would die.
Yeah, I only do it if it's like the tiniest of pills, and I don't have the water near me.
Yeah, I could see that. Actually, I couldn't. Sorry, I'm still on the applesauce. I like remember like having to take pills when I was like a kid, and my mom like threatening to beat me with a broom because I couldn't swallow the pill. But like I imagine it from her perspective. She's like, my child's sick and needs to take this cure, this antidote, and she won't do it.
Did she ever beat you with the broom?
Yeah.
Oh. The bristly part?
Yeah, the bristly. Yeah, no, not the stick. The stick is brutal.
Yeah.
The stick is brutal. The bristly part for sure, though, which that's not that bad.
No.
There could be worse things. I could have been hit with worse objects.
Yeah. My oldest sister, I always got told I was lucky because my things have changed, at a certain point. But like my older sister would say that my mom would, she would put all of her rings on and then backhand her.
Oh my God. That's painful. My mom always threatened me with it was a belt that had bottle caps on it. And she threatened it. Never used it. Never used it, but I knew it was there.
Wow.
And I knew if I really pushed her that thing was going to be coming out.
I'm assuming the sharp part of the bottle cap and not the soft, friendly part of the bottle cap.
It was a cool belt. I'm sorry, I'm thinking about the belt.
That's fine.
Yeah. But I do have questions. I do want to talk about
let's get to things.
My mom hitting me, but more importantly, I want to talk about what made you want to open a comedy improv theater? Was that always the dream, or like what got you? How did this start? How did Backline start?
So it wasn't necessarily my dream to have a full-on theater by myself kind of thing. When I moved back to Omaha, I wanted to teach improv. And so I started teaching, and I was using this space that was like the basement of an art gallery. And about a year and a half later, the people in the art gallery were just like, we're moving. Do you want the space? And I was like, sure, I don't want to lose the space. So then I had to like start putting on more shows than the shows I was putting on for my classes.
Yeah. And
then that's when I started doing stand-up shows. So we were doing improv and stand-up at that point, and we started doing sketch too. And at that point, it was like, well, I guess I own a venue, and like this is my responsibility now. And then shortly after that, we moved downtown.
And I guess I don't know the OG Backline. I've only ever seen the downtown location.
Yeah, we started at a really cool place that was a nice hip, like literally underground. In Omaha, there's the Film Streams Dundee. People probably know on 50th and Dodge. Yeah. We were right across the street.
Really?
So there's like a vacuum shop and Caterpillar Vapes and like a tattoo parlor or whatever. And there was a place called Studio Gallery, which was like an independent art gallery with like 4 artists that just did stuff there. And they did jazz shows in the basement every once in a while. And so they had like the really cool brick wall and all that stuff. And so when we started, we were just using that space. No sign on there says comedy, like anywhere on the thing. It just says Studio Gallery. And I don't know if it was like because it was almost like a speakeasy, that it was like cool that you only knew about it if you knew about it.
Yeah.
So we were filling up shows like right away. Our very first show was Full House. Wow. And it was like, wow, this is what, I mean, we had some low shows obviously, but like we were very lucky there. And especially considering like, you know, when I took over, I added one sign that said comedy, and it was like a, you know, like 2 foot by 6 inches or something. And it just said comedy above the door, and that was it.
I like that for an entrance. That will get me into any door.
Just comedy.
Just a black hole. As long as it says comedy above it, I'm walking into it.
Put it above a cave.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, I'll go in there. Yeah, they got comedy. Cool.
Yeah. But it was great. It wasn't safe, you know. It was.
Is any comedy club ever really safe?
It was like you walked into the basement and there was no fire escape. So like you walked in, the first thing was a giant old furnace that was just like this giant ball of flame, and then you'd walk down a dark tube, you know. And there's like, oh, if this ever catches fire, I will just burn in this hole, you know.
That's comforting.
Yeah,
that's reassuring.
Yeah. And it was like at the same time as like, was it like White Snake or whatever that had that big party where everyone burned, you know? And I was like, oh, this is not good.
Wait, who? Wait, what party?
There was like a band. What was it? I think it was White Snake or something that had some disaster happen like 12 years ago or something, where there was like a fire or something and a bunch of people got stuck in it or something.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's terrible. I'm sorry. Yeah. I've never heard that story before.
I don't even remember the details anymore, but I remember it was pretty bad then.
Yeah.
And then, let's see. Oh, there was like, it was so bad. Like when it would rain, water would just pour out of the walls. Because they were brick, but they were like dirt behind it. So any holes in there, water would just trickle down the bricks. And it looked like a cool feature. Yeah. It looked like something we had like
it sounds like a spa.
Installed. Yeah.
There's a water fountain. You're like, do you like the accoutrements of the building?
And it was seriously in the back of the stage. So it's like, here's our stage, here's our brick wall, and the water just trickling down it.
Wow. Yeah. That's kind of honestly the best backdrop for comedy.
Yeah. If only we could control it and not just when it rained.
True.
Plus, there was just like wires everywhere, so we were like, "This is someone's gonna die."
Someone's gonna get electrocuted during your set. I remember seeing a picture. I don't know when you were posted it, but like one of my, not one of my favorite comedian, Nate Bargatze, was he came to the, was it that
studio gallery? Yeah,
that is so cool. Like I don't know. I mean, I'm still extremely new to comedy. I don't know what his career was like at the time that he came through, but how did that happen?
Sure. So I believe it was through Zach Peterson and some of his friends. So they had a group called OK Party at the time. And they would bring in people who were just like touring comedians all the time. I mean, he still does, you know. Yeah. And Nate came in. He was so funny. I mean, they'd bring in a lot of people who were really funny, but I was like, this guy's really funny. And it was like 8 years later till I saw him doing anything big, you know. That's how long ago it was. I mean, this was like 10 years ago now, you know.
That's amazing.
Now he's doing giant stadiums and stuff. And
it's wild what he's doing. I saw him, like, I feel like it was like right before he had Tennessee Kid was out, but it was before his second special he put out. He was at a Funny Bone in Des Moines, and I was 19, and I got way too drunk on margaritas, and I, like, tried to fist bump him when he got off stage. I was a mess. I embarrassed myself. I was like, I'm a really big fan.
He did call our place the, what was it called? The Chuckle Dungeon.
Oh, that's...
That basement place I was talking about? The Chuckle Dungeon.
That's sweet.
Yeah, it was sweet.
Yeah.
It both sounded nice and showed how terrifying it was at the same time.
Yeah. I have seen you do a lot of, well, I mean, you do everything, but improv is something that, like, I am really interested in, and I want to hear, like, what do you think is, like, the key for good improv? Or, sorry, that might have been a loaded question.
That's fine.
I like...
Okay, so... For good improv, I mean,
improv.
Obviously.
What is the key? Well, to making improv work.
Sure. The biggest things I tell people is that it's about trust and listening, and you just have to trust not only your scene partner but yourself, and being like, this is what I have to do. I'm going to do it. I trust myself that I can do it. But also listening. And again, not only to your scene partner, but to yourself. What are they saying? What am I saying? What's actually going on? Are we recognizing what's happening here? Are we observing that? Now, beyond that, that's just, can we improvise a scene and make it up on the spot? That's interesting. I think for me, if it's improv, it should be funny. Now, I know it sounds like obvious, but not everyone believes that, especially if you go overseas. Dramatic improv is actually a thing. So I think if you're doing an improv show, your audience should be laughing. And what I recommend for that is finding a pattern, finding something that you can bring back and be like, what I usually tell people is find something that's fun. And then you're just finding another way to have that fun. That's all you're really doing. So, and really to break it down, I created a formula, a mathematical formula for improv. Yeah. It's very simple, but it's just discovering what's fun and communicating that to the third power.
I like that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sit with that one for a little bit. I'm gonna have to meditate on that.
There you go.
I feel like I've never felt this way, but I've been told that there is this divide between improv and comedy. But me, I feel like they strengthen each other. Like they are different. Mm-hmm. Or do you agree that there's like a divide between the two?
Well, okay. So here's something that I'm really pushing hard for is that. When we're talking about it, you said improv and comedy. I consider improv and comedy. That's fine. That's what a lot of people say, though, right?
Bad.
So I say like stand-up comedy or comics. Yeah. You know. So yeah, there is a difference there, but I do like to let people know that I think improvisers are comedians if they do improv comedy.
This is a little thing about me. I find it more impressive. I am so like. I have this like amazement when I watch improv. I mean, I have an amazement for stand-up. I love good stand-up, but there's just something like about improv that's like so magical that I want to take classes and I want to learn to get better at it, but it's so daunting and intimidating. Yeah. It's like, I don't know. That's
the number one thing I hear from people is I could never do improv.
Yeah.
You know, but like everyone can do improv. If you can't do improv, chances are you don't talk to anybody ever in your daily life. You know?
Oh no!
And like, if you can have a conversation with someone, you can do improv. That's like, sure. Yeah. Can you do it well enough to be famous for it? That might be a different story. But can you do it? Yeah.
It's like the being funny while doing it, because I'm like, I feel like what would need to happen for me to like really immerse myself is like to get out of my head. Yeah. Cause I like,
it's a big struggle.
That is. Yeah. But I got to take some classes. I got to start getting in the mix. Focusing on the stand-up side of comedy. What are your favorite jokes, or what do you have the most fun writing, or what favorite?
Like my own jokes or other people?
Honestly, you could do both.
Okay.
I was kind of asking like you, like what are your favorite jokes to write and tell, but also like which ones are your favorite to hear, like styles of jokes?
Sure. When I first started out, I told a lot of one-liners because I felt more comfortable that way. Mm-hmm. I felt like, okay, I'll just structure these jokes and either they're good or not, and I'll drop them if they aren't, and then they can be about whatever. They were just some silly idea I had. And then at a certain point, I got tired of memorizing a bunch of one-liners. And I started going into, I really liked some people who were like telling stories. So I've been trying to get into more like doing what most people do, which is just go up there and talk about yourself. Yeah. And that's really tough for me because I'd always want to like hide behind the joke or like, I'm just telling this joke. It's just a joke. It's not me. But what really used to irritate me back when I was younger was watching stand-ups tell jokes that weren't true or like something that wasn't true about their life. I remember once Dane Cook told this joke and I'm like, that's not true. I'm like, there's no way that's true. Yeah. And for some reason it used to make me mad. And then I became that person who would just tell jokes that clearly weren't about my life. But now I'm trying to get into it and it's nice.
It's fun. I feel like that's kind of a muse for me as well, is like my personal, I wish I was better. I feel like you have good like one-liner jokes that I'm like, how did he think of that? I think of your Texas Instruments joke. Like I'm just like, what? Like it's just clever, and then I'm like, what situation do you have to be in to think of that?
So I love wordplay.
Yeah.
And I will sometimes base a joke off just a pun.
Yeah.
Like I'll hear something. So I'm pretty sure when I heard that, I'm pretty sure it started by me hearing Texas Instruments and going, that sounds like a gun. And then, and then from there, I was like, what is this joke?
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of times that's really all it is. Yeah. And usually most of my jokes are just something that like comes to me as I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, got to write it down real quick.
Yeah.
And then I tell it for 4 years.
As you should.
Yeah.
It never gets old.
Yeah.
So those were your personal favorites. Which ones do you like? Oh, well, I mean, I guess you kind of already answered that. You like listening to people when they talk about like their personal life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So something that made a big change for me, it was actually during the pandemic, was when Dave Chappelle started doing those like stand-up sets in the middle of a cornfield or whatever. Do you remember that?
No.
When he was doing that?
That's amazing though.
And it was like just in Ohio and just to a bunch of people in his town.
Yeah.
Out in the rural area. And he did that joke or he did that stand-up set about George Floyd, which like wasn't really that funny, but man, it was so interesting. And I just love the way he told that story. And so I really started to get into like, I want to be interesting on stage and like tell some good stuff. And then Trevor Noah, who was like working with Dave Chappelle at the time, they did like an interview or something, and he was talking about how he got advice from Dave Chappelle about how he didn't need to come up with like funny jokes. He just needed to be, he's a funny person and he could tell interesting stories. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, that's a lot easier way to look at it, of just like, I'll tell something interesting that the audience cares about, and then I'll try to find funny things within that.
Yeah.
Or a funny way to tell it, you know? So that's when I started telling stories about like a time where I almost got mugged, you know?
Yeah.
Or, right? Which was like something I would have never told as a joke, but
now I want to hear. Now I want to hear the story. I can go bar for bar with mugging stories.
Yeah.
I've had my.
Have you been mugged?
Oh, not like shakedown, like give me your money, but I've been on the news before.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But no, I want to know what happened.
You want to hear it?
Yeah.
I'll tell a brief one here. So I lived in Hollywood for almost 6 years, and like I never got mugged there. Yeah,
that's interesting.
Or I guess LA. I wasn't always in Hollywood. I moved out in the Valley for a year or two. But I was always I'd walk around at 3 a.m. and not get mugged, you know. And then I moved to Nebraska, and within like 2 months, I almost got mugged. And I was like, "Are you kidding me?" It was like 40th and California Street, and I was walking home from a bar on St. Patrick's Day, and I'm in this giant green outfit, just like a full green suit at 2:30 in the morning. And
Target.
yeah. So like, and then I'm walking up. I'm walking with this girl that I was kind of seeing at the time, and we're walking back, and this guy's in front of us, and he's walking the same direction we're going. And he turns back because he hears us. He's like a block and a half ahead. He turns back because he sees us or hears us, and then he runs forward and then into someone's yard. And I go, this ain't good. I can already tell this isn't going to turn out well.
Yeah.
Hopefully he just didn't like us and panicked and like ran. But I don't think that's, after living in LA, I was like, there's some shady stuff. You recognize stuff. So I'm like, all right, let's see where this goes. And it's like the only way I could get back without walking a terribly long way out of my way. So we keep walking, and sure enough, this guy's behind us now. Oh. And I'm going, yep, there it is. I should have just walked the long way. Here we go. And he goes, hey, you guys got any money? And I was like, no, man, sorry. And he goes, you sure? And I go, yeah, man, I don't have any money. He goes, you guys look like you got college loans. And I'm like, yeah, man, that's why I don't have any money. Like he assumed I was like a Creighton student, I think, you know, and like He was just like, you probably have money from your loans.
Oh.
I have payments I'm making on my loans because I had graduated 5 years before, 7 years before this,
Just calling out your debt.
Yeah, right.
You look like you have debt.
Yeah. You look like you're making payments on your car.
A mean mugger.
There he is, a mean mugger. I love it. So then we get closer, and I'm like, oh, man, I always had this method that I thought would work. Or like, I don't know if you ever think if I ever get mugged, this is what I'm going to do. And I was like, there's no way I can fight because I'm too drunk and this guy's not, And I'm like, he's also a very big guy. He's older. He was probably like in his 50s, but he's a very big guy. And he kind of looked like Nick Nolte from his mugshot. You know what I mean? Where he's like, yeah. He's like wearing a Hawaiian shirt too. Like this guy's just like this old disheveled big dude. And I'm like, man, like maybe I could run, but I'd probably fall, And, so I'm like, oh boy. And so I start talking real loud, hoping I wake someone up. Yeah. And I'm like, hey, man, I don't have any money. And he goes, are you talking loud so you'll wake someone up? And I go, oh, that's no, you're calling me out on it. Do I keep doing it or do I not do it? So I'm like, okay, that's step one done. I cannot get that way. So then I'm like, okay, this is the thing that I've always thought would work in LA. I'll try it in Omaha. I didn't know if it would be as important. But the thing is in LA, like if you're laying dead on the side of the road or something's happening to you on the side of the road, people are just going to keep driving because they don't want to get brought into whatever's going on, and it's easier to just ignore you. So I'm like, I got to get in the middle of the road. It's the only way I'm going to stop a car. Otherwise, they're going to drive right by me. So I'm like, I have to get this action happening in the middle of the street. That way, a car will stop. They will have to stop, or they'll run us over, But at least I'm not going to get mugged. We'll both get hit, if that's the case. So I'm walking backwards to the street, and as I hit my foot right on the curb, he reaches forward and punches me right in the jaw. Now, I barely remember the punch, but I do remember waking up on the concrete. What? And I had totally just been knocked back, landed on my ass on the concrete, and I'm like getting up, and the lady I'm with is like kind of like yelling, and there's an Escalade pulling up right at this moment. It stops like right before my face, and she's like trying to get them to get out of the car, and the guy's just staring there, and I'm like getting up. And I'm like, oh, please do not like drive around me or turn around. Please, car, just like get out of the car, do something. They don't do anything. But eventually that guy just takes off. They just sit there long enough and that guy just takes off. And then we're like, thank you. And then they don't even get out because they're still like, I don't know what the fuck's happening. So we get off to the side. They take off. And my house was seriously like 200 feet away. It was like a half a block at best. Not far at all. Practically across the street. So we just went to my place. So this guy didn't take anything. He wanted to. Oh. Like had the car not been there, he would have totally just taken whatever probably. That is an intense story. Yeah. That is so intense. That was okay, I'm never going to LA. This was Omaha. Oh, sorry. I thought you were saying this was in LA. No, this was in Omaha. In Omaha? This was Omaha. You know what? Omaha can be a little bit shady. Yeah. There's a couple shady parts. I've never been knocked in the face, but I've been almost like someone opened my car door one morning, and I'm pretty sure they just wanted the car. Oh. I don't think they wanted me, which I was offended. You were sitting in the car. I was sitting in the car. The car was turned on. It was 6 a.m. There was ice on my windshield, and then a guy comes up, and I'm so selfish. I see this guy come up, I go, oh, he's gonna scrape the ice off my car. That was my first thought. I was like, oh, how nice of this guy to he sees me in need. Yeah. And then not at all. He opens the car door, he's like, get out of the car. And I had my keychain, my pepper spray didn't work, and I held it up. It was enough to scare him off. But I was offended because I was just thinking back, I don't even think he did not care about me or want to kidnap me. He just wanted the car. Yeah. No, and he didn't get it, but. You were like, why don't you want me? I know, I'm like, come on. I'm all right. I'm a hot commodity. I'm pretty valuable. I'm just kidding. No, getting mugged. Oh my gosh. I've had so many issues with people breaking into my car. It's the car.
I'm
What kind of car you got?
A Chevy Spark.
Oh, that shouldn't happen.
Right? That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Who's trying I'm like, this car has automatic locks. This shouldn't be a car that people would want anything from.
I drive a Kia Rio.
Ooh.
And I don't know if you've heard of the Kia Boys.
No, what's
You're not
the Kia Boys?
The Kia Boys is this challenge on TikTok where they can take a Kia or a Hyundai really easily because for like a few years they made like this malfunction where you can basically break it with an iPhone charger. So you can steal my car. You could have stolen my car with an iPhone charger. And I was like, are you kidding me?
I need the blueprints for that. Not because I want to steal your car, but because how the hell do you steal like with an iPhone charger?
You just like wave it in front. It just like it recognizes the chip inside or whatever. Yeah, it's seriously like that. It's just you just like wave it and then it's like unlocked and then
that is insane.
Yeah. So there were a lot of Kias getting stolen for a while, and they just now Kia just finally reached out to me and is like, hey, we finally have software so that way it can't be stolen. Come in and get it installed. And so I just did that yesterday. But now I'm like, I feel good that my car won't get stolen, but I also know that when these people come to steal a car and if they can't get in, what they do is they get really mad and then they just trash the car. Yeah. So
I don't understand why people do that. It's so unnecessary. Someone keyed my Chevy Spark on the side. And honestly, maybe I'm just not attached to my material belongings. I don't care, but I saw it and I was like, why would you do that?
Was it personal?
It could have been.
Hopefully it wasn't.
I hope
Keying tends to be personal, but it's not always.
Honestly, it's pretty deep in there, but in my head I saw it and I go, someone must have did that by accident. Yeah. Why would anyone do that?
They didn't write a word on there, right?
No.
Okay. Oh
my gosh. Imagine just bitch. Yeah. Just something. I would honestly, if someone did do that to I'd be like, all right. All right.
Yeah, fair.
You know what? You might have a point there. I'll listen. But yeah, I saw it and I was like, that must be an accident.
Yeah.
My car is so messed up right now. Like the front is bashed in. There's scrapes on the back. It's beat up. I need to take better care of my car.
I have a pineapple dent in my car. And if you're like, what's a pineapple dent?
Yeah.
It's a dent caused by a pineapple. This dude, I lived next to a dorm for a while, and this dude threw a pineapple out of his 4th-story dorm, and it just landed on my hood, like right on the corner. So it just like, it didn't luckily break my whole hood. And he wasn't even going to confess to it, but I like had to reach out to the dorm, and I was like, you all got footage? And they're like, yeah. And so I'm standing out being like, this guy comes up. He's like, yo, what's up, man? And I'm like, oh, someone threw a pineapple at my car. And he goes, oh, that's rough. And he goes, well, I hope you figure it out. And I go, yeah, the dorm says they have the footage. So, and he goes, oh. And then he comes back like 20 minutes later and he's like, hey, man, that was me. And I was like, you weren't going to tell me until I said I had the footage. Now you're just worried about getting in trouble.
What possessed him to do that?
He was drunk. Yeah, he just thought it'd be funny to throw a pineapple out of his...
It is really funny.
Yeah.
I'm sorry it happened to your car, but...
He gave me the money that it would cost to fix it, and then I just used the money.
Yeah.
Right?
What's a pineapple dent?
What's a pineapple dent?
You know, that's not going to hurt anyone.
I was going to say, did he at least offer you the pineapple?
Oh, the pineapple was pineapple sauce after falling 4 floors.
Oh, man.
It did not stand a chance. I seriously walked out. I couldn't even tell it was a pineapple at first. There was just like yellow mush everywhere. And I was like, what is this? And then I found the top part of the pineapple, the green part at the top. And that was the only way I could tell it was pineapple.
That must have been a really warm... okay, you know what? 4 stories, that's pretty high up.
Yeah.
That must be a hell of a dent.
Yeah, I mean, I was lucky again that it hit the frame because it dented part of like the frame, but had it been in the middle of the hood, I bet I would have messed up my engine.
Yeah, that would have been pretty bad actually, but the story is...
It is pretty funny.
It's funny. And also... Just pineapple dent.
Pineapple dent.
I like those 2 words together. That's a good band name.
Pineapple dent. Yeah. That's
our new band, Pineapple Dent.
It sounds like a Weezer parody or something. I don't know.
I've like been when any like specific thing happens, I've been like, that would be a good band name. I was eating I had a salad that was sitting in my trunk like all day, and I ate it. and it was a warm salad. And I was like, that would probably be a really good band name.
Oh, it definitely doesn't sound like good food.
Honestly, I just needed sustenance. I needed vegetables.
What kind of salad?
Garden salad.
We're talking like romaine lettuce or something?
I think it was iceberg.
Okay. Warm iceberg lettuce.
Honestly,
That'd have been like eating cabbage.
It was honestly, I don't mind a warm salad.
Okay. It wasn't crispy though, right?
It had crunch.
Okay.
You know?
Sure.
I was happy that I had food.
Sure.
Honestly. Because I live in Lincoln, but I spend a lot of time in Omaha. So I try to pack food so I don't like just spend a bunch of money when I come to Omaha. And yeah, I just let that salad sit for too long. And I was like, well, I have to eat it now. It's not going to be good. I don't want to waste it. Mm-hmm. So I sat and I ate the warm salad.
Yeah. Did it have the dressing on it already?
No, I actually brought my own bottle of ranch.
So it wasn't sitting there in the dressing?
Oh, no. Yeah.
And the dressing was cold?
Lukewarm.
Okay, not hot.
Yeah. Warm salad, good band name, and not a bad lunch option if you're in the Omaha area.
That's great.
I had a couple different questions.
Sure.
The one I wanted to ask you, I could ask it a couple different ways, but what are your favorite memories from Backline? Loaded question once again. But like, is there one specific memory that you have that's your favorite, or like just a couple different memories?
Oof, that is a tough one. Favorite memories.
Or good times that you just, honorable mentions.
Sure. I'll throw out a few honorable mentions here. We've had some cool stuff. Like I was just mentioning to someone this morning that we had someone be proposed to during one of our festivals. And that was really cool. And, they're still married and all that. And we've actually had a few situations. We just had someone get married on New Year's Eve at Backline.
Really?
Yeah. But as far as like favorite moments, I'd say my mind wants to say like certain shows or like, here's when we had a guest like Amber Ruffin or something like that. 'Cause those were always fun. But really when it comes down to my favorite memories, I'd probably say it's like the hanging out after shows.
Yeah.
And my most like fond memories were actually when we were at our old place, because after every show, pretty much every performer would go upstairs and we'd just sit in a circle and drink and smoke or whatever, and we'd just chat. And nowadays, everybody just sort of leaves and goes and does their own thing. Everyone's like, yeah, we're going to go to the bar, we're going to go to another show, we're going to go do this. And it's very rare that just everybody from the shows that night just sits around and chats with each other.
Yeah.
And it's, I do miss those old days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got to bring them back.
Yeah. We do it a little bit now where like sometimes we'll hang out front for a little bit. And we're about to get a patio, so maybe that'll change. Maybe people will hang out in the patio more or something like that. But
I can't wait.
Yeah.
That patio, that Patty Daddy is going to slap.
Patty Daddy, that's nice. We also, in the old place, we were a BYOB place. So it was also a little bit easier to hang out there because people would just bring a case of beer and they'd go, well, I still got 3 more beers left. I'll hang out here all night. Yeah. So.
That's exciting. Those are very fun. My like fondest memories are the open mics. Just the Wednesday night open mics, like hanging out, watching everyone go up, just bouncing around from like the back rooms to outside. Just the whole vibe of a Wednesday night in Omaha at Backline is the best.
That's great.
It's my favorite. It makes my whole life.
That's good to hear.
Yeah. And I had, I sent you the video of the podcast we did with those 2 girls that, Sam and Jenna, they've been coming to Backline and they're huge Backline stands. And they were talking about how they wanted their names on the bathrooms, but the bathrooms had already been bought from the fundraiser.
Oh, it's wild how many people wanted the bathrooms.
People want to name the bathrooms.
That was the first thing that sold out, was the bathrooms.
It's an honor to name one of the bathrooms. That's good to hear though.
Yeah,
that it was
I'm
first.
like, man, I should have like doubled those prices.
You should just be able to name everything in the like. This is my door hinge.
Yeah. Do you want to just name the toilet?
Yeah. Just one side of the handle, the left handle on the sink.
You know what's funny is the guy who ended up getting the 2 on the main floor was Todd Graves, but the person who actually mentioned that they wanted them before him was Todd Dylan Graves.
What are the odds?
What are the odds?
What are the odds?
Out of all the people who wanted it, Todd Graves and Todd Dylan Graves are the 2 people.
It still blows my mind how close their names are.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, you know what I've been wanting to do is I want to set up a 5-person stand-up show with Todd Dylan. Oh, wait, no, sorry. So Todd Dillon's real name is Dylan Graves. Or Todd Dylan Graves.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm messing this all up now.
No.
So Todd Dylan, here we go. Okay. So Todd Dylan Graves often goes by Todd Dylan.
Yeah.
And then there's Todd Graves.
Yeah.
So you have Dylan Rowdy, Todd Dylan, Todd Graves, and then there's a guy named Logan Graves who does stand-up. You met him?
I haven't met him yet, but I've seen his name.
And then then that's 4 people, and then I reached out to a guy named Logan Rowdy. And I was like, would you do a stand-up show with the 4 of us? Because I would love to just have all 5 of our names just like match in this cycle.
Yeah.
And he never responded. He's just like some dude from South Sioux City. And I was like, you're close enough, man. Come out to Omaha
Just
sometime.
do it.
He never added me back as a friend. I don't think he ever saw the message. So maybe I need to reach out again. But I was like, I'd love it if you just tried stand-up one time, man. Just try it for this. Just try it for this.
We'll get someone to cosplay a Logan Rowdy for you.
Oh, that's great.
This is who you are tonight. Do stand-up. I'll pretend.
It's just like, okay, yeah. It's just
Logan
you
Rowdy.
and you got like a mustache.
Yeah, I'm like, hi guys.
I'm Logan Rowdy.
Oh my gosh, that would be fun.
Yeah.
An alter ego.
I like how you have a laptop, a phone, and another phone.
It's still like not enough.
That's my ADHD right there. I just need all those devices to just eat
function.
food. Yeah. How can I eat my cereal? I don't have 3 devices going.
I need the TV playing. I need like just sound stimulation. Like it's bad. But no, I want to encourage listeners to keep interacting with the Just Jossin Around Instagram account. Send questions, because this is what happens is we read your questions and we answer them. Okay. Sorry.
What if we just read the questions and then don't answer them?
You know what? That actually would be funnier. I'm going to do that because I feel like it will shame him from these terrible questions.
Ooh.
Sorry, controversial. Have you ever tried to find the teacher from high school that got caught sending nudes to students to try and hook up as a consenting adult? Question mark. Loaded.
Yeah.
Loaded.
That never happened. Well, there was no like sending that stuff in my high school because I was in high school in 2001, you know.
Is that
so
before?
Yeah, that was before like most people didn't have cell phones at that point.
Born in 2000.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I got a cell phone as soon as I graduated high school was when I got a cell phone. So but we did have a teacher who hooked up with some like high schoolers.
That's wild to me.
He ended up marrying one of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Wow.
Sorry. I'm just like, how does it get that far?
Yeah.
How does no one step in there and say,
oh, he got fired. But then she moved with him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, they must have been in love.
In love.
They must have loved each other.
I mean, he was like 23 and she was 18, so it wasn't like a huge age gap.
Not terrible.
But he was a
weird.
high school teacher. Yeah.
Still, yeah. Still probably not recommended.
Yeah.
For high school teachers. Next one. Okay. Have you ever been threatened to have your nudes sent out because you snapped a fake girl or guy from Hinge?
I don't know if I understand what that means. So, I basically like I got scammed or something.
Yeah, like have you ever been talking to someone on a dating site, sent them pictures, and then like they're like threatening to send them?
Yeah. So I don't know. So I'm bi, And I was on this site once called Grindr. But this was before
I've heard about Grindr.
There was a time where I was not out. I've only been out for like 2 years now. And this was like right as soon as I came out, luckily, because had I not been out, I probably would have been more terrified. Yeah. But someone sent me pics, so I sent pics back, and then this person sends pics of like all my family accounts on Facebook, like your aunt and your mom and all this stuff, and they're like, "I'm gonna send this message to everybody if you don't give me $500."
Whoa.
And I was like, they already know I do this, so you're just going to be bothering them with a picture of my D. You know what I mean? Like, they're just going to be grossed out. That's all you're going to do. So I'm not going to give you $500. And also, this is illegal. So hopefully I can find out who you are, you know? Yeah. And then they didn't, then they blocked me or whatever.
Honestly, the way, like, when you said that, I was like, I would have given the...
Right. I bet a lot of people probably give them $500.
Yeah. That's terrifying.
It is.
But also, I guess, whatever hustle floats your boat.
Yeah. But also, just if you're feeling like you want to come out and you get pressured, just come out.
Yeah. I know. I come out on the podcast.
Do you? No. All right, now. This is it? This is that moment?
Is this it? Is it happening? No. I'm just going to start asking people what they think. And then wait. I'm just going to be like, what do you think? I don't know. Have you ever turned down sex on a date? Okay.
These are all by Carter?
These are, yeah. I'm sorry. Are
they for me or for anyone?
They're for anyone.
Okay.
These are, yeah.
He's not specifically wondering about me.
No, these are not specifically for you. I would have to talk to that guy. Hey,
what are you getting at?
Yeah. Have you ever turned down sex on a date because you took a large shit after your initial pre-date shower and you were embarrassed there would be lingering smells, asking for a friend, ...
Well, I'm going to recommend he uses some dude wipes. Right?
Wipes?
Yeah, use some wipes.
Just wipes. That's.
Or if you don't have them, just get your toilet paper wet and wipe off any dry residues. You know what I mean?
That's nice. Or find a really good gas station with a bidet.
Oh, what kind of gas station has a bidet?
I'm going to tell you right now. Sap Brothers.
Sap Brothers?
Sap Brothers. They've just, it's a recent renovation.
Yeah.
But I went there and each bathroom is an individual stall. It's a room. You have privacy. Uh-huh. And bidets.
Yeah, because they're for truckers, so I understand like the individual part, but the bidet part blows my mind.
And it's heated seats, like it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
When I go to visit my grandparents, I'm only stopping at a Sap Brothers, because I love that experience.
Yeah.
I like feeling clean on the road. I like feeling
that's great
scrubbed out.
I've never used a bidet.
You've not? Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I think it would. Sap Brothers, if you've seen
should we get them at Backline?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do another fundraiser to get to get bidet. Oh, let's only do one and it's in the upstairs.
Ooh, that's a good place for it.
That would be good. And we don't tell, you have to like get a key. You have to ask you for the key to that bathroom. Yeah, but no, I mean, I hope you experience a bidet soon.
Yeah.
Because it is glorious.
I mean, I've sat on them, but I've never
used the functions.
Yeah, because I'm like, I don't know what to expect. So like,
yeah,
do I use it and then like I have to like dry off again with like another wipe? Is that what you do, or do you just let it drip dry and then you pull your pants up because it's just water?
Honestly, it's been so long. I would imagine that I would wipe after, but if it's water, I don't mind a drip dry situation.
Okay. How much of a power wash is it? You know, like is it
what's the water pressure?
You know, like
it's a pressure wash.
Yeah. Does it get everything, or is it just like, and then you're like, well, I suppose I'm dripping some mud now. You know,
it's like a cute amount of water.
Okay.
It's like, oh, thanks.
But it like washes it all off.
Yes.
It should.
Oh, it gets in there.
Okay.
Because there's different options. Like you can have it spray for ladies. It can go in the lady parts and your butt. It's great.
Can I, since we're already talking about this, I want to get into something here. So I, as a grown adult, I can now admit this. I didn't wash my ass until I was like late 20s.
When you say like, you mean like
I didn't like put soap or my hand on my butt crack in the shower.
Oh.
So I would just like, whatever water would like flow down there at the end of my shower, I would wipe with toilet paper, and then I would just throw that away because it was like all wet and it was easy to just like do. Okay. And there was still always mud, even though I had just finished a shower. You know what I mean? So like now I'm like, I have to actually use soap and like get down there and like wipe, and then use soap again to wash my hands afterwards.
Yeah.
Because I'm a little bit of a germaphobe and like neat freak, so I'm like, I can't. Like, it's like I wash something on my body and then I use soap and then I wash another part of my body. It's bad.
You're hygienic. You're clean.
Yeah.
This actually, okay. I mean, I know we have to wrap up pretty soon, but I will say, the hygienic and clean, like. What is your stance? Are you a very organized person? Are you tidy?
I don't know if I'm organized.
I
try to be.
I'm trying to put together. I can't make it make sense in my brain. People that are messy but extremely hygienic versus people that are like, I feel like they're the same, but I've had recent conversations where it is not. Messy and hygiene are not related.
Yeah. Because like one is like more of like a like germaphobe or something. Like I'm worried about like, do I get sick off this or like something like that. Whereas like if there's a bunch of paper on my table, I don't care. It's not going to make me sick. It's not going to bother me. Now it is going to add stress to my life. So I do try and do better at picking up a mess. Usually I'm really good at picking things off the floor, but I have stuff on tables. So that's something I work on, especially as I found out that that's an ADHD thing is piles on tables. So I'm like, I got to work on this. So when I see a pile of papers on a table, I'm now like, all right, let me sort through them all and
let's do this.
Throw away what I don't need and put away what I do. And it's usually like the last 5 months of all my bills. So I don't need the first 4 months. You know what I mean?
I'm good.
Yeah, I already paid them. I didn't look at it, but they're auto pay. So I just, I don't need these just sitting there collecting dust anymore.
Yeah. I have a drawer full of just mail, and I need to just go through it and throw it away. But it's like, it's so hard. Yeah. I don't know why. It's just the drawer. I'm like, it's closed. I don't look at it. Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah. But it's usually like when I do look through it, it usually takes me like 5 minutes. I worry about it for so long. Yeah. And then it's like no time at all to just be like, I don't need this. I don't need this. I don't need this.
Yeah. All right. You've motivated me. I'm actually going to go do that right now. But what I will do is tell you to shout out and promo some things. Ooh. We're at the end.
Is it our festival?
Yes. Festivals, fundraisers, comedy workshops, all those things.
We just announced our headliners yesterday. Did you see them?
Oh, yeah. Jurden.
And Dave Foley and Kevin McDonald from Kids in the Hall.
Yeah.
And then there's a group called Holy Shit, which is a group of improvisers from UCB LA. They're all awesome people. The whole cast has been on like Comedy Bang Bang and a number of other shows. People like Carl Tart, who you might recognize. I recommend. He's probably like the most famous of the four of them. Then there's like Dave Thuney, who's been in a lot of stuff. And then they're bringing like their own little kind of headliner with them, who is Joe Wangert, who he's been in a lot of stuff, but he's also really well known for like his writing and directing. So he was a producer on like 60 episodes of New Girl.
I love New Girl.
Yeah. And he wasn't like one of the main producers, but they have a lot of producers, but he was one of the producers of that. And then he's a writer and director for like 40 episodes of Big Mouth and other shows like Kroll's Show and other stuff like that. And
so for the festival is August 3rd through the 6th.
Yeah.
And there's going to be shows, there's going to be workshops.
Yeah. Right? So you can see all those people I just mentioned will be doing shows at the Slowdown.
Okay.
But we're also going to have shows at Benson Theater, which we'll have some of those folks as well. And then obviously at the Backline downtown, we'll have some shows there. And it's improv, stand-up, sketch, all that stuff. So
I'm so excited. Yeah. It's on my calendar. Also, my birthday's on the 6th, so I'll be celebrating.
That's great.
I'll be celebrating at the Omaha Comedy Festival.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I can't wait.
And then, yeah.
No.
Oh, yeah. I was just going to say it's also our 10th anniversary, so that's a big deal.
Oh, for
for the festival.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Is there going to be merch? 10th anniversary merch?
Oh, we teamed up with Ray Gun this year for our merch. So if you haven't seen their shirts, it's always like the ones that have like the big Omaha font, or it's not Omaha font, but it's like they're Omaha shirts and they have like a big font on their shirts. So usually like a lot of letters, words mostly, Yeah. But they got some really cool designs that we're going to have. So, and then you also mentioned the fundraiser, which is wrapping up at the end of this month. And we have basically we still have a lot of things. So like if you have a business who is interested in things like team building workshops or like any corporate training, those are the tiers that we still have a lot of. And I'd love to see some of those. We can also make deals. So if you have a company and you're like, I really want to do something fun for the employees here, it's a great opportunity to get some packages like that and get some, team building workshops. And, any size of company, we've done stuff with like Hilton and ConAgra to smaller groups like the Nebraska, Coalition. And I've even done team building workshops for just like a group of people who were like friends for some reason. And they're like, we want to do something together. And I'm like, great, sure. That's what you want to do. That's great. So those are all there. And other things as well, like you can name one of our drinks or you can have a comedian tell a joke on stage. That's part of our fundraiser as well. So
I love that. I did not know those last two were fundraiser options.
Yeah, they got added late, so they're up there now.
They're good.
Yeah.
And then also we can find all the workshops and everything on Backline. Is it just backline.com?
Backline Comedy.
Backlinecomedy.com.
And technically, the fundraiser stuff is on comedytrainingcenter.com, which is our new website for our classes, but the backlinecomedy.com will link you there. So, and then the other one's omahacomedyfest.com.
Okay. All right.
That should be all the plugs I mostly need. Oh, if you want to check out an animated series, I have Troglobites, the animated series that you can find on 2 of the episodes are on TikTok, but otherwise you can see 3 of them on YouTube. Just typing in Troglobites animated series. And Kevin McDonald is one of my voices on there. He plays
Really?
Dracula. And
Wait, how do you spell that?
Troglobites or Kevin McDonald? Troglobites.
Yeah.
Troglobites.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Kevin McDonald plays Dracula, and Billy Merritt, who plays Fryman from Steven Universe, plays the Van Helsing type character.
That's exciting. I'm definitely going to go watch that.
Yeah.
That's exciting. Did you want to promote your social medias?
Yeah, I mean, if you want that, you can find, let's see here. I don't know if I want to do too much. I mean, you can check out Backline Comedy on TikTok. That'd probably be a good one to follow. Definitely a good one to follow, especially with the new videos that are going up. Mm-hmm. The new funny... Like Megan on the Streets and stuff? Yeah, Megan on the Street. Yeah. Those are exciting. Definitely check those out. But I think that wraps up everything then. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for listening. This was fun. Thank you. Thanks for having me.